Hello and welcome, everybody. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Today, we will be continuing on the My Thoughts on My Team series, and here with me today to break down the Las Vegas Raiders is Shane Hallam. Shane, thanks for joining me. Nice to have you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm excited. We're post draft, and I'm excited to, talk about some of these teams now that they're complete or close to complete.
Jesus, you scared the living hell out of me there. I must have been watching YouTube with my kid between podcasts and had the volume up. And when you answered me back, you startled me. Did you see me jump for a second?
Look, we're just waking you up here, getting you ready for the Raiders.
I am awake. It was a sleepy day, and I am awake now. Your enthusiasm got me shook a little there and scared the living crap right out of me. With that in mind, how about telling everyone where they can find your work?
You can find me at draftcountdown.com. If you're into the NFL draft, we have reviews of this past draft. I also have a 7-round mock draft for next year. DynastyLeagueFootball.com. I write for. You can find me on Twitter at Shane P. Hallam. I'm everywhere. You'll run into me somewhere.
I did. I seen that online. Where'd you rank in the draft competition this year? I seen that.
Yeah, I did pretty well. I was top 10 in the top 100 contest, and then I ended up pretty good in the mock draft contest. I think I was top 30 out of 200 some people. So
I did not even know that was a thing. I had to bookmark it for next year. I seen the post about yours, and I looked and I said, "Well, I wish I had entered this, but I did not." So
get in it. Yeah, it's fun. It's nice to have a little bit of being able to look back and see how well people actually do in prognostication, and and be able to kind of grade that way, so what you're reading, who you're listening to is accurate.
I always find that with the Fantasy Pros, the grading on there, like the ranking, the expert consensus rankings, the accuracy competition portion of it, I always look back at like the little gaps and all that, and I never really realized how random and volatile fantasy football was until I seen my scoring. And the first time I looked, I said, "Holy crap, look at how wrong I was. Look at the difference." And then I looked and I seen the guy who was leading it, and I'm like, oh, so we all kind of suck at this?
Right? Look, you're gonna, when you have those like random weeks from
Taysom Hill 42 points.
Yeah, right. Like when that happens, no one's putting him top 5. So people are dead wrong some weeks. Which makes it fun.
I see it on Twitter all the time, the people yelling at the experts who are wrong once. And I looked, and I think I learned that the difference between the general public and the expert is the expert's wrong, just less. So
right.
The only difference.
I mean, it's tough out there. I think that's why you got to take in all the information and make your own kind of concerted choices is the best way to go.
Alrighty, well, with that in mind, let's get into what I'm sure will be a fun situation. The Las Vegas Raiders. Their quarterback room is an interesting one. It's the quarterback room that time seems to have forgotten. We have newly acquired starter Jimmy Garoppolo and the backup Brian Hoyer, who I didn't know was still in the league. Last I checked, he was with New England. And rookie draft out of Purdue, Aiden O'Connell. I would like to see O'Connell get his chance here at some point and maybe take over. I thought he had potential. He graded really well for me in athleticism. Jimmy seems like a bridge quarterback, and I suspect that's what he is here. What are your thoughts on these three?
Yeah, I don't think any of this is kind of long term. I mean, I think Jimmy Garoppolo can be pretty solid this year, ultimately. But I don't know. This isn't a long term answer for the Raiders. I think Josh McDaniels just trying to piece together what he has, and I feel like this list is a lot of, oh yeah, I thought they were on the Patriots, right? It's like every time a new head coach from the Patriots goes somewhere, they try to just remake the Patriots again. It never works.
They did it in Detroit.
Yeah. Didn't work there. No. So I think Jimmy Garoppolo is maybe a little bit undervalued right now as a quarterback, especially in super flex,
Yep.
where we'll talk about these weapons here in a bit, where I think he can produce even if he's not a good quarterback.
The running back room, as we look at some of these weapons, is an interesting one. Josh Jacobs, who I was going to be avoiding this year because I thought, contract year, don't want a running back on a second year of our second NFL contract. But lo and behold, after riding him into the ground and giving the ball nonstop, he's on the franchise tag. So they're probably going to do the same thing, and they're going to ride him into the ground and then send him on his way. So I think I'll be right back in on Josh Jacobs. Zamir White was a guy in rookie drafts that I got a lot of last year because the rumors in camp were that he was going to challenge for the job and it was going to be a split. And I don't know if Zamir White got 10 carries as a rookie. Then we have Amir Abdullah. Has he done anything of value since he played for the Lions? He's in there.
Has he done anything of value in his career?
Fair enough. I misspoke. And Brandon Bolden seems to be the same thing, except he came from New England. So maybe I think he gets the first shot there, being the partial New England coaching staff. This has got to be Josh Jacobs' backfield, and I would imagine Zamir will be a breather back, and the other two will come in to catch passes, kind of like a James White in the Patriots offense.
Right, and I think we could see Bolden play that kind of fullback role that he played in New England. I think we'll see that a little bit. But I expect, like you said, Josh Jacobs is going to get the bulk of the carries again. He's going to get – you might as well run into the ground again if you're not going to do a long-term deal. I think we see a little bit more of Zamir White. I think he's a nice dart throw late in drafts, or even you have some owners that bought in to sprinkle a late-round rookie pick to get him, because next year, we'll see what happens. And even this year, there's a decent chance. I never want to predict injuries, but they ran Josh Jacobs hard last year.
I know.
Like, if they do it again, there's no way he holds up this entire season. And then you might end up with a value if Zamir White comes out and looks good.
I'm starting to almost feel bad for some of these running backs. It's either sign the franchise tag and we're going to play you on 1 year and we're going to grind you right into the ground and then send you on your way with all your best miles behind you and to fight for a second contract, or you pull the Le'Veon Bell role or strategy and you hold out and then your career comes to an end. They're just completely screwed. It's a really crappy time to be a running back in the NFL.
And like we saw with the NFL draft, they're also going to push your draft capital down by like 2 rounds if you're not a first round pick. Like, we got guys going to the 4th, 5th round, supposed to go in the 3rd. So you just can't get paid. You can't get paid.
So most of them aren't even that first rookie contract's not even at a decent value. It's 7th rounder, 6th rounder value. So
which is awful. It sucks.
Tough time to be a running back. Moving on to a bit better room here. We've got the wide receivers, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Trey Tucker, and DeAndre Carter. Adams is obviously the one here, the alpha. Hunter Renfrow seems to be a pretty good slot receiver. The problem is I thought that's what Jacoby Myers was best at. So how do you see this room shaking out? I like the ad of Myers. I just kind of thought him and Renfrow do the same thing.
No, I tend to agree. I mean, I think this is Devontae Adams' room and targets to go. It's going to be throwing to him all day. I get Myers is going to have to play, the Z receiver position on the other side of Devontae Adams, and I just don't feel super comfortable with him there ultimately. And like, they drafted Trey Tucker in the 3rd round. He was decently early, top 100 draft.
Did he go that high?
Yeah, he went top 100.
I thought he was a day 3. Wow.
Yeah, surprisingly, right? He's kind of that. I joked on Twitter. He's like the round 3 receiver pick that no one's going to take in the rookie drafts because they don't believe there's any way he's going to be productive, right? But
I've done 20. I don't think I've seen him go once. I haven't even considered him. I assumed he was around a 6th rounder. Actually, you know what? The first thing I thought when I looked at him was UDFA.
Oh, well. There you go. Yeah, he was picked well higher than some of our favorite receivers, but at best he's a fast slot guy, probably more special teams player. Maybe he pushes Hunter Renfrow a little bit. that could happen if he's better than Trey Tucker's better than what everyone thought. I don't know if I want any of these receivers except Davante Adams. I don't know if there's another one I feel confident in long-term, short-term, anything.
Well, no, Hunter Renfrow had a good year, but that was with Derek Carr in the short slot role. Myers on a new team. The only thing that gives me hope for Myers is the coaching staff. They were familiar with him in New England. Davante Adams should get the same volume, you would think, but probably going to be. I would think he's better in PPR this year. More receptions, but shorter ones. Basically, is what I'm thinking with Jimmy.
Right. I mean, I think that's a possibility. You wonder if they adjust the scheme down to not force Jimmy Garoppolo to throw deep as much as Derek Carr did. Not that Derek Carr was great at it either, but I think he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I think you want to kind of build the system to get the ball in Davante Adams' hands and Hunter Renfrow's hands and Jacoby Myers' hands. So I do wonder if we see a scheme adjustment to try and account for that, which probably doesn't help us in fantasy football as much.
Yeah, this is a scary room outside of Davante Adams a little bit. New quarterback, getting up there in age. It's kind of scary. Trey Tucker's the rookie, like you said, could do some special teams. DeAndre Carter, he came over. Was it Chargers, then Commanders, then Raiders, or just Chargers to Raiders? I can't remember if there was a Washington stop in between. Do you remember?
I don't. I think there was. I think it was a Washington stop. Yeah, he was Chargers to Washington. Yeah.
I remember him having a few odd weeks here of decent production with Keenan Allen out. So it's not all, cause for concern, but there's not a lot here that I'd really want to target unless it's later in drafts. Brings us to the tight ends. Interesting room. They seem to be collecting middle tight ends here. We got the rookie Michael Mayer taken at the top of the second round. They traded up to get him, didn't they?
They did, yeah. He was the third tight end off the board in the draft, but he was my tight end one going in.
Mine too. But that should tell you kind of what they think about the journeyman Austin Hooper and OJ Howard. You would think this would be Mayer's. At least you hope it is. I just hope that this is not another tight end by committee situation where they're going to essentially ruin all three of them.
Right. And we've definitely seen that in the Josh McDaniels system before. But I do think to spend that type of capital on Michael Mayer, you're getting a much better version of Austin Hooper, right? Like you're getting someone that can be a 2-way tight end that can block for the run game, but also give you some of the soft hands and line up in the slot and do what we've seen him do at Notre Dame against zone coverage. Rookie tight ends, in redraft, I'm not really taking, but I do think long-term, I think Michael Mayer's in a good situation here to, especially because he fits multiple systems. If Josh McDaniels gets canned or something, I think Michael Mayer will survive pretty well. So I think there's a lot of upside, year 2, year 3.
I'm checking out your background here, and I think I'm conflicted right now. On one hand, that's an Ohio State sign, so I'm not thrilled. But as I was starting to get angry, I'm pretty sure I'm seeing what looks to be the top of a Pikachu ear on your T-shirt.
Oh yeah, we got.
So then
the
you
Pokemon
instantly redeemed yourself with the Pokemon Go. So I was like, oh, that's a cool sign though. The Twitter one, that's awesome. You have to custom order those, or?
Yeah. My wife got it for me last year for my birthday, so we got.
That's outstanding.
We got
I should get myself one of those.
Yeah, look, I don't know what. I don't think there's a good Raiders color I can make it, I guess, but we can try.
Good and Raiders don't often go in the same sentence. So. All righty. Now that we've gone through this dumpster fire, based on what you think the ADP will be, or best ball ADP right now, who's a player on this roster you think you might target and own in a lot of leagues?
Jimmy Garoppolo, honestly, is one I like taking a shot. I think when we talk best ball as a QB3, I think you could toss the dart. I think there's going to be some big games. Davante Adams catching the football, etc. So I kind of like Garoppolo in terms of when we talk ADP. I think people are passing him by, and I take the shot on a couple spike weeks.
Yeah, I like him especially in Superflex, or even the deeper tournaments like a Scott Fish Bowl. How about an avoid? Who would you like to avoid?
I think I'm avoiding Jacoby Myers. I think I'm off.
That's what I was gonna say. Myers, because he's likely to be significantly more expensive than the rest of them and is just as unsure as Hunter Renfrow?
Right. It seems like him and Renfro are going fairly similar places, and I think I'd rather invest in Renfro that we've seen have some PPR upside than Myers, who's like doesn't have the volume and doesn't have the touchdowns. I just think that's where he's going. I'll pass. I think Jacobs is pretty appropriately valued, so I'd go Myers.
Yeah. I think with a sleeper, we might end up doubling down because Jimmy's probably the best sleeper value. The only other one would be just a complete total long shot if you were desperate in tight end premium. Maybe you take Michael Mayer and hope that he has a halfway decent tight end season, but even a great rookie tight end season is still tight end 12. So I'd probably go Jimmy for a sleeper. How about yourself?
No, I think Jimmy's fair. I'll go Mayer. I think he's fine as a number 2 tight end in a best ball situation. Maybe you get a multi-touchdown game. I think that's always possible when you have someone that has kind of the skill set that he does. And there's not a ton of red zone targets on this team. If they're when they throw in the red zone, I think Mayer could ultimately be the guy to pay off there.
Sorry, I got a slight interruption there. It's a good thing
we were
almost
there. Good. I was filming it. We were good. We lined that up.
My 8-year-old came flying in to inform me that the pool is done filling and is now overflowing. So we'll wrap it up with one final question here. They finished 13th in the AFC. Where do you see them finishing in their division? And 6 wins, over, under the same.
Ooh, man, there's such a killer division. Like, it's so hard. I have to pick them for 4th in the division. I know they got 3rd last year, but I think the Broncos will be at least a little bit better, and the Raiders will probably stay about consistent. I will go looking at the schedule. I think I'm going to go over 6 wins. I'll say they get to 7, maybe tie the Broncos 4th in the division.
All righty. Well, thank you for joining me, Shane. Would you like to tell everyone once again where they can find you?
Yeah, you check me out on Twitter at Shane P. Hallam. Check out draftcountdown.com for your NFL draft needs or bookmark it till next year. And then Dynasty League Football, you can always find my work there.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. It was very good.
Yeah. No, but thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you bringing me in. It was fun.
All righty. This concludes my thoughts on the Las Vegas Raiders with Shane P. Hallam. Once again, I'm Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and this has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Thanks for joining us.